All right, so I think we're probably safe to get started here now. Just want to take a quick minute to introduce myself. I am Julia Clayton Clark, and I work here in the recruitment and first year advising department at Holland College. And my colleague Shannon is on here as well. So she'll be here to just monitor the chat section of the chat today. So if any questions come up in the chat, she'll be able to answer those. But what the session is going to look like is I'm going to chat with you guys for about half an hour or so and just talk about some of our most frequently asked questions. And then we'll have about a half an hour at the end for questions. So if you could hold off on questions just until the end, if you have questions, write them down to make sure that you don't forget to ask them. And then we'll have a half an hour at the end to do any Q&A. So not to worry, we'll probably answer your question in the presentation, but if not, we'll have time at the end to chat about that. So everybody here they'll be coming to Holland College in the fall. So we're all really, really excited to meet everyone. I know that we've been emailing with a number of people on this call. I've definitely recognized a number of names here. So we're really looking forward to meeting everybody in the fall. We would like to ask that when you folks arrive in Charlottetown, that you come and see us in our offices. Um, Myself and Shannon and a few other people on our team, we're located in Montgomery Hall, which is at number 305 Kent Street in Charlottetown. And you can find that address online and we'll send out some emails so you'll have it. But we would love for you to come in and meet with us and just say hi and let us know that you've made it to Canada and to PEI. So please do come by. So most of our staff are here at the Prince of Wales campus, which is located in Charlottetown. We do have a staff member. Her name is Rebecca. She is located at the Tourism and Culinary Center. And we also have Gracia Gallant, who is at our Summerside Waterfront campus as well. So there's lots of us kind of spread out all across our campuses, and we're here to help you and make sure that your transition is as easy as possible. Um, when you folks are getting ready to come to Canada, we just want to talk a little bit about the things that you're going to need when you're traveling. One thing that I'd like to touch on is if you have not booked your flight yet, please make sure that when you do go ahead and book that you do have a long layover when you get into the country. Chances are you're probably not going to be able to get a direct flight to Charlottetown from where you are, so you'll have to stop over either in Toronto, Montreal. Those are the typical cities. Just make sure that you have at least 3 to 4 hours of a layover so that you can get through customs and get everything done that you need to get done while you're at the airport. We've just experienced in the last few years that those who have shorter layovers tend to miss their flights because they can't get through the customs and all that stuff in time. And the lineups are very long right now, especially in airports like Toronto and Montreal. This is our peak tourism season. So just make sure you give yourself lots and lots of time. When you do get ready to pack up and go to cross the border, make sure that you have a few documents with you. So you're going to need your letter of introduction that you would have received. So that would be your letter indicating that your study permit has been approved. So make sure you have that with you. You're going to need obviously your valid passport and you'll need your TRV or your ETA, whichever is required from your country. You should bring along your acceptance letter from Holland College as well as your co-op work permit letter if you have a co-op component to your program. And if English proficiency is required of you, make sure you bring that along with you as well. You just, by having all of these documents will eliminate questioning from the border agents and it will speed up the process quite a bit for you to come into the country. When you do receive your official study permit from the CBSA agents, make sure you double check your permit before you leave. So you want to make sure that the expiration date is correct. You want to make sure that it indicates that you can work, make sure that your school is correct. So just take a look at your permit before you do leave, because once you leave that area, you can't go back in to have them change your study permit. And to change study permits, it's a long process. Sometimes depending on the change, you have to pay for it. So just make sure you take a look at your permit before you do leave that area of the airport. Um, when you land in Charlottetown, it's important to know what campus you'll be attending. So, depending on what program you're in, that determines what campus you're at. If you're not sure, it's all listed on our website. So, be sure to go on and make sure you know where your campus is located. Um, there are a number of taxi companies that are available right at the airport. So as soon as you land, the Charlottetown Airport is very, very, very small. You will not get lost. So as soon as you land and you walk out into the airport area where you collect your luggage, there are a number of phones that are on the wall, and you can just pick up those phones, and it's a direct line to taxi companies. And there's typically taxi companies that will wait outside of the airport as well. Oftentimes you can just walk out and there'll be a taxi there for you. So you can hop in your taxi and go to your house or your apartment or residence or wherever it is that you're going. So just be aware of that and the fact that there will be a little bit of an extra cost associated with getting from the airport to your residence or your home. Um, if you have not been accepted into residence yet, residence is full right now, so there is a wait list. If somebody cancels their seat in or their bed in residence, our team will then go ahead and accept the next person on the list, and it's just by first come, first serve. So depending on when you applied. Um, if you are on the wait list for residence or you haven't found housing just yet, I would encourage you to start looking for housing immediately. Shannon is going to send a link in the chat about where you can find housing information. We have an off-campus housing section on our website, and it's a really great resource. There's lots of apartments and houses and different things like that that are listed on there, as well as pointers for finding off-campus housing and what you should look for and that kind of thing as well. So make sure you take a look at that if you haven't found anywhere to live just yet. On that page, there'll be a website. It's called Kijiji. And that's probably going to be the best place to find an apartment or a house or something like that to rent. So definitely make sure you check that out pretty well right away and get started on that search. Um, so it is required that all students are present for the first day of class on September the 5th. So please make sure that your flights are booked so that you can arrive before September 5th so that you're ready to go on that first day of class. The first day of classes, you're going to be getting a lot of information. The instructors will talk about what your course will entail, how the grading scheme looks like. You'll get a nice copy of your schedule so you know where your classes are. You'll get tours of campus, a bunch of different things like that. So it's really, really important to be there for the first day of classes on September the 5th. Um, there will be Holland College staff members all over campus to show you where to go on the first day. So if you're not sure where to go, please don't worry, don't panic. We'll be everywheres and we'll be showing you exactly where to go. So not to worry about that. It is important that you register for your classes. So if you don't have your approved study permit yet, like your letter of introduction, you won't be able to register for your classes until you have that document. So as soon as you get your letter of introduction, the letter indicating that your study permit has been approved, upload that to your dashboard account and you'll be able to get registered shortly there after. It'll take admissions about 1 to 2 business days to change your status so that you can register. But it's important that you get registered for all of your classes. So as soon as you get that letter, go ahead and get that process started. Um, it's required that every student registers for class, and then once you're registered, you'll be able to see your schedule, you'll know what your days look like. Most of our programs run Monday to Friday from 9 in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but that can vary. It just depends on what program you're in. So for example, some of our culinary arts classes, your class times will be a little bit different because when you're out working in the field, your class you won't have shifts that typically go from 9 until 4 in the afternoon, so just something to be aware of. Make sure you get registered if you haven't already, and if you are eligible to register now. Um, There are a number of different events that are going to take place throughout the year while you're a student here. One of the more important events is going to be your international student orientation session. So we're going to be having that on September the 12th, and you'll get more information on it as the plans get more solidified, I guess. So that will be an opportunity for you to meet a number of different people who work at the college, and you'll be able to see what resources are available to you as an international student. So everything from mental health supports to academic supports, athletics, our student union, all that kind of stuff will all be there to chat with you folks about what to expect. As a student at Holland College, and we'll be there to answer any questions that you might have. So make sure you mark your calendar September the 12th. And as we have more details available to us, we'll be sending you an email. Um, Email is super important to monitor. Uh, I'm sure, as you've noticed already, we send quite a few emails, but it's always about important things. So please monitor your emails and keep an eye on that because that's the way that we communicate. So keep an eye out for that. Um, when you arrive, it's important that you request your letter of enrollment. That can be done through your WebAdvisor account. And your WebAdvisor account is created when you register for classes. So everyone on here should have instructions on how to register for classes. And if you don't, if you're ready to register, your file is complete, you want to go ahead and do that, and you don't have your instructions, please email international@hollandcollege.com. And Shannon's going to put that in the chat there as well for you. So please just send us an email and we can help find out what the issues are with why you can't register and that kind of thing. But you can request your letter of enrollment through your WebAdvisor account, and that letter of enrollment you're going to use to apply for your health card. You can use it to apply for bank accounts, different things like that. So just make sure you have a letter of enrollment handy for when you're starting to get all those applications submitted. So when you do arrive in PEI and you are an official Holland College student, you have the opportunity to apply for a PEI health card. We're going to touch on the health card and access to health resources and things like that once you are at the international orientation, but I'll touch on it very briefly right now. Um, in order to access healthcare in PEI, it's easiest if you have a Prince Edward Island health card. That is something you can apply for once you arrive, and you'll need your letter of enrollment as well as acceptance letter and your study permit. And then what will happen is you'll be mailed a card that will allow you access to different healthcare services in PEI. And with that card, you can opt out of one of the health plans that you will be automatically enrolled into. So you'll get a little bit of money back. And you're also covered by an international student, like another portion of a health plan that will cover things like dental, like any dental work you might need, massages. It covers a lot of like above and beyond things. So you'll have all of that medical coverage when you get here. And like I said, we will go into detail more about that once you're actually here and you've arrived. So not to worry about that. Depending on what program you have been accepted into, you may need a co-op work permit. These are super important. You can apply for your co-op work permit for free, but it is required that if your program has a working component to it, you do need to have that co-op work permit to allow you to work those hours. Even if your study permit states that you're eligible to work off campus, you still need a co-op work permit. Processing times for those work permits can take months and months. So it's important to get started on that quickly. If you have not applied for your co-op work permit yet, you can apply for that when you arrive here in September. Like I said, the application's free. And once everybody's here, we will be holding a session on how to apply for co-op work permits, and we can kind of walk you through the process of that. So just make sure you check into that. Um, Let me see here. Study permit. Yeah, so we did mention that like when you cross the border to make sure that all of your study permit is correct. If you need to change your study permit, it is a little bit difficult to do that, or it can be difficult to do that once you are here in Canada. So make sure your study permit is correct. And if you do have any questions for like myself or Shannon, we are going to answer questions. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of this. So, outside of this, if you think of any other questions, please just email us at international@hollandcollege.com, and Shannon or myself will be able to respond to any of those questions that come into that inbox. As for once you're actually here and what things look like when you're a student, we are going to have events throughout the year aside from the international orientation. There will be a new student orientation event with all of our students from across campuses. Everybody will kind of gather at the Prince of Wales campus, and there'll be lots of fun stuff going on. So you'll have a chance to meet other people. Um, every year we also have an Embracing Diversity Fair where all of our international students can get together and have the opportunity to showcase their culture and their background. So in past years, we have had cricket tournaments, we've done dominoes tournaments, we'll have an international student showcase. So students have been able to perform. So whether it's an original song or a dance or a fashion show, things like that. We've done food showcases as well. So if there's a dish from your home country that you want to share with us, you'll be able to do that for the Embracing Diversity Fair, and there'll be funds available for those kinds of things as well. And we'll kind of talk about that a little more once you folks are actually here. We also have a program called Global Buddies. This program is a really great way to make friends, especially if you're more introverted. What happens is if you sign up for the program, you're matched up with someone who is from a different country from you, and you're given an activity card, and each month has a different activity. So you'll get together with your buddy and you'll do activities together throughout the year. So it's a really great way to kind of make friends and get used to just PEI and what your new life looks like, really. And we do understand that you're coming a long way, and there is going to be a bit of a culture shock, and all those kinds of things. So we do have a lot of supports in place for you, whether it's mental health, academic support, but culture shock usually will come into effect usually right around the middle of October or so. So if you're here and you're feeling like you're really, really homesick and you're sad and you're anxious and things like that, we have counselors on campus that you can go and talk to about those feelings. We'll also do a presentation on culture shock. Every year we like to bring in someone from the Newcomers Association, and they'll talk about what culture shock is, what does it look like, how can you combat it, like different things like that. And we do bring in people from Newcomers to do presentations on, preparing for winter. For a lot of you, this might be your first time experiencing what it's like in the snow. So we'll have a session to help you prepare for that. So, what kind of clothing should you have? What it's like to drive in the snow, how to prepare for wind chill factors, different things like that. So we'll make sure that you're well informed for sure. I did see a question pop up about postgrad work permits. So if you folks are interested in postgrad work permits and then possibly permanent residency, we do bring in someone from the Department of Immigration, and she'll do presentations and chats with folks about how to actually apply for your postgrad work permit and the different pathways towards permanent residency and things like that. So we will have multiple presentations for that throughout the year. So again, your email, keep an eye on your email. Once you're registered for classes, you'll have access to a Holland College email account. You usually get access to that. It can take 2 to 3 business days after you get registered for your classes, but you'll have access to your Holland College email account. Please, it is so very important to check your Holland College email account. So many important emails come through. It- our department especially, we send out emails about events that are happening and sessions that you can take part in and just different things to keep you happy and healthy while you're here. So please, please just watch your emails. um, it's definitely it'll help you out in the long run for sure. Um, just trying to think of what else. Oh, you can set up a bank account. If you would like to set up a Canadian bank account from where you are right now, there is a bank that does allow you to do that. They're called National Bank. And they have a branch here in PEI. So you can actually set up your bank account from home, from where you folks are right now, and you can put money into the account. And then once you get to PEI, you just head down to the local branch and show them your official study permit, and they'll be able to unlock the account for you. And then you'll be able to use that account just like you would any normal bank account. If you wanted to wait until you arrive in PEI to do that, you certainly can as well. Completely up to you, but if it's one less thing that you have to worry about when you get here, you can definitely do that. So um, make sure you look into that. Um, at the beginning, I had mentioned that when you receive your study permit, it will have, different conditions on it and expiration dates and stuff, and to make sure you check that before you leave the customs area. One of these things that should be on your study permit is the ability to work off campus. So most international students will be able to work for up to 20 hours a week off campus. And then during regularly scheduled breaks, you're able to work full-time hours if you wish. Your study permit has to say that you're eligible to work. If there is a note on your study permit that says you are not eligible to work, then you're going to have that changed. So just make sure it says that before you leave the customs area. But unless you're in a program like Open Academic Studies, unfortunately, students in Open Academic Studies are not eligible to work. Everyone should be able to work while they're here. So when you get here, you can apply for a social insurance number, and that number will allow you to work in Canada. It's basically a way that the government keeps track of how many hours you're working and what your pay is and that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. We are hoping, this hasn't been guaranteed yet, but we're hoping to have someone from the social insurance department set up at the international orientation. So there is a possibility you'll be able to apply for your social insurance number there. If not, it is a very easy online application, so not to worry. But we'll let you know further information once we have them confirmed or not, so not to worry there. Um, we One thing that I did mention at the very beginning, um, it is required that students are present for the first day of classes. So make sure your flight is booked and that you are able to arrive here and be present for the first day on September the 5th. I know there's quite a few people in here who have probably already heard me say that, but we've had probably another 50 people join since I've started. So gonna start repeating myself just a little bit, so I do apologize, but we'll start in on questions here in the next 5 minutes. So any questions that people have, they can put in the chat here in the next 5 minutes, and I'll be able to, myself and Shannon will be able to help you out with those answers. One thing that I did mention at the very beginning is to just make sure you're aware of where Charlottetown is located with respect to where your program is located. So if you're taking our plumbing and pipe fitting program, your campus is actually going to be at the Georgetown campus. So that's about a 45 to 50-minute drive from Charlottetown. So make sure you're aware of where your campus is located. And when you get to the airport, there are plenty of cabs available. There's cab companies that you can call. They have phones right in the airport, so you can give them a call and get them to come pick you up and take you to wherever it is that you'll be living while you're here. We do have public transportation. So we have a bus that runs tip to tip across the island. Um, we have a student rate where you can pay, I believe it's $10 a month. That may be changing, but it's right around $10 a month, and you can go anywhere in PEI for the month with that. So just keep that in mind. And all of this information that I'm giving to you folks, you're going to get this again at the International Student Orientation event. But we've also done up an International Student Handbook that we'll be giving to you at orientation, and we'll also send out a digital copy of that book book as well. So all of this information will be in the book. So from contact information to how to apply for a health card, how to opt out of your health plan, transportation information. This is all available in the International Student Handbook. So just something to keep in mind. Um, just trying to think. So those are mostly like our most frequently asked questions. Um, I understand, like, I see a lot of questions coming through the chat here, so I'm going to get to that in just a quick minute. For anyone who is in any classes that requires standard first aid and CPR level C, and you haven't gotten those yet, you can sign up for courses to happen here in PEI before your classes begin. So if that's a requirement for your program, please go on your program website. There will be a link that says that provides a full list of all of the providers who do those courses. So just make sure you go in and you register for that course if it is a requirement for your program. WHMIS is also another fairly popular one. So just make sure that if you do need to take your WHMIS certificate, that's available for free online. A quick Google search will bring it right up, so you can work on that as well. And any remaining documents that you might have for your application, start working on those for sure if you have anything left. Um, if you have documents left, you're not going to be able to or you're not going to be able to register for classes. So your file has to be complete. If you're out of the country, but you've registered for a standard first aid and CPR class, and you'll be taking it, say, for example, on September 1st and 2nd, just upload proof that you're registered in that course so that our admissions team knows that you're registered, and you'll have that done right away. Um, if you have not booked your flights already, please book them as soon as possible. Availability isn't always the best if you wait too long. So make sure you are booking your flights very, very soon. And make sure you give yourself a long layover at the airport where you'll be entering Canada, because customs can take a very long time to go through. So give yourself at least 3 to 4 hours of a layover at the airport, and that will just ensure that you don't miss your flight, your connecting flight. So just something to kind of keep in mind there as well. Um, a lot of you will see on your dashboard account that it will say under your study permit, maybe you've uploaded your letter of introduction, but it still says that it's not received. It will say that until you provide us with a picture of your actual study permit. So don't panic about that, but please make sure that we have either your letter of introduction or proof that you've applied for your study permit. So please make sure that we have all of that. I'm seeing quite a few questions come in about jobs and how to find jobs and things like that. There are a number of resources for finding employment while you're here in PEI. We actually have a girl who works on our floor. Her name is Haley, and her job is to help you find a job, whether that's a part-time job, off campus, or you're looking for your career once you graduate. Haley can help you with all of that. I'm seeing some questions coming in about what are the documents required to register for classes. We need everything, like all of your admission requirements that you see on your dashboard account. So log into your dashboard account and you'll be able to see exactly what documents we still need to see. So please be sure to check your dashboard account. I see someone asked about are there available rooms at the school? Residence is full right now. So please, if you haven't started looking for off-campus housing, start looking very, very soon. You want to start looking actually probably tonight. And so just make sure that you have somewhere to stay while you're here. Um, I know that Shannon had included the link for off-campus housing in the chat, so just make sure that you check out our off-campus housing page, because there are a lot of resources on how to find off-campus housing. It is very difficult to find, so that's why we want people to start early and watch for what becomes available. We don't need original documents to be submitted on the first day of school. Your documents that you've uploaded on your dashboard account, as long as our admissions team has approved those, we don't need the original hard copy of it. So just keep that in mind. You can register for your classes without your school fees, for sure. We do need to know that you have paid your confirmation fee before you're going to be able to register for classes. But as long as that confirmation fee has been paid, you're going to be able to register for your classes. And then once you get registered, your tuition will be calculated and you'll be able to see that through your WebAdvisor account. So WebAdvisor is an account that you'll create when you're ready to register for your classes. Everyone would have received multiple emails on how to create that account and get registered for your classes. So please check your emails and make sure that you're keeping on top of that. There are instructions, very detailed instructions on how to register for your classes. So please do look at that email. And your enrollment letter through WebAdvisor, if you just log into your WebAdvisor account and select students and graduates, there's a link that says verification of enrollment. So just make sure you go ahead and select that, and you'll be able to get your letter of enrollment in a couple of business days. Um, we don't have anyone on campus that really helps directly with finding off-campus housing options. That link for our off-campus housing that's available on our website, that's a really great link. So there's a number of different resources on there for finding off-campus accommodations. So please read through that website, and there's lots of tips and pointers, as well as websites showing where to go and um, what's available right now. I see a question, marketing and advertising management in the, oh, sorry. So you're looking for other people in marketing and advertising management, I'm guessing. So our marketing and advertising program, that's located at our tourism and culinary center, which is just about a 15-minute walk from the Charlottetown Center campus. So classes begin on September 5th. It's required everybody is present for the first day of classes. Shannon, are you able to send the link for the WMIS course, the AIX safety one? So we'll send that along there for you, Dammy. Can I use an international driver's license in PEI? That is a really great question. I don't know the answer to that. Shannon, are you able to look that up as well? Sorry, I'll go through the questions if if you'd be able to do a quick search for that, if you can use an international driver's license in PEI to drive.
Yes, they
I
can.
know, oh, you can.
You can.
Perfect.
It's just the insurance is quite high when you use an international driver's license. So you're always encouraged to go to Access PEI when you arrive here and show them your license and try and get it moved to a PEI license to lower your insurance rates.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. So make sure you go ahead and do that. I already prepaid. So I have a question here that says, I see that we need to pay tuition, but I've already pre-completed 2 courses in May and purchased the cost of books for 1 course. So how do I pay for that? So if you've already completed courses, or if you already have books purchased, basically what will happen is when you go to the bookstore, you'll let them know what books you need still, and then you'll just purchase them outright from the bookstore. They actually aren't included in your tuition. So just make sure you have the list of books that you already have, and the bookstore will be able to help you out that way. If you've already completed 2 courses that are part of your program, just make sure that you're not registered in those 2 courses for the fall, and then that tuition total will be reflected on your WebAdvisor account. So don't worry about that. Bus passes are not given out by campus. You do have to purchase your bus pass, and you can purchase that at our library as well as at the local the transit offices. So not to worry there. Um, you can register for classes now. I see someone asked when we'll be able to register. You can register now, but your file has to be complete. So we need all of your documents on your file in order to register for classes. If you have not registered for classes, you will not miss out on required classes that you need to have. So if you are in the business administration program and one of your courses is economics, um, a student from kinesiology can't register in that economics class. So if we've accepted 50 students into the business program, there's going to be 50 seats in the economics class. So you won't miss out by registering late, but it is encouraged that you register as soon as possible. So do keep that in mind. The deadline for study permit submission, we need to see that you've applied for your study permit by now. If you have not applied for your study permit, you will have received multiple emails from our admissions department indicating that we need proof that you've applied for your study permit. Please check your email. Please check your dashboard account. We need proof that you've applied for your study permit or your seat will be canceled. Processing times right now are sitting at 7 weeks. So if you haven't applied yet, unless you're going through the SDS stream or if you're from the US or some Caribbean countries, you likely won't be able to have your permit in time at this point. So please check your emails. Please apply for your study permit as soon as possible if you have not already done so. I see a question here. Is it possible to change my course after arriving, or change my campus from Summerside to Charlottetown? Unfortunately, that is not possible. If you want to change your campus from Summerside to Charlottetown, you have to submit a new application and compete for a seat again. And same with if you want to change your course. So if you want to take a different program, you do have to go ahead and reapply and compete for a seat again. At this point, a lot of our programs are still full, so I would encourage you to just verify on our program availability page what is still available, because it's not just as simple as transferring from one program to the other. Arlene, I see you mentioned that you've uploaded your letter of introduction but can't register for your classes. Can you please send an email to international@hollandcollege.com and we'll be able to help you out. So anyone that has questions like specifically to their file, please send us an email and we'll be able to respond to those on a case by case basis. So send us an email to international@hollandcollege.com and we'll be able to help you out with any of those personal questions per case. The documents that are needed at the port of entry include your letter of introduction. So that is your letter stating that you've been approved for your study permit. We need your passport, or they will need your passport, your TRV or your ETA, whichever, depending on which country you're from. You should bring your acceptance letter from Holland College. If English proficiency is a requirement for your country, bring your proof of English proficiency with you. And then if you need a co-op work permit, if you've applied for a co-op work permit, you can bring that letter with you that you used on your application. So make sure you have all of those documents with you. The tuition rate now is not a rush to pay. Yes, so tuition is due on the first day of class. Class starts September 5th. You can pay your tuition anytime before then or on that date. So just keep that in mind. We don't need your tuition immediately right now, but definitely when you get here, you can come on in and we can help you process your tuition payments. Um, Bus passes sit around $10 per month for students, so you can purchase that through our bookstore. This meeting will be recorded. I apologize, I don't think I did mention that, but it is going to be recorded, so I will send it along once we get it back from editing and that kind of thing. It may take a few business days, but we will certainly send it along as soon as we have access to it. Um, let's see here. I see. So somebody asked, I've been offered admission but haven't completed required documents. Can I still go ahead to apply for visa? That depends on where you're from, Dammy. You're going to want to apply for your study permit right away 7 weeks processing time right now. So make sure that you have those documents submitted as soon as possible. It's required you're here for September 5th. If you don't have your study permit application submitted yet, unless you're going through the SDS stream or you're from a Caribbean country or the US, you're going to have a hard time getting your study permit in time for classes to begin. The timing on the bus schedules are pretty accurate. And if you are taking the bus to campus and you find it's running late, just send your instructors a note and let them know what's going on. Just say, hey, I'm on the bus and we ran into construction or it's late or whatever. Just let them know for sure. Okay. Um, I see a question in here about a plumbing apprenticeship. Any questions that are about your specific program or your specific situation, please email us at international@hollandcollege.com. I see some questions here on how to register for classes. You would have received a number of emails from us on how to register for your classes. So please go back and take a look at your emails because the full instructions are there. When you arrive at the airport, you will receive your work permit and your co-op work permit. Yes, so make sure that when you go through customs that you review those documents and make sure that they are correct. Um, here. If your semester doesn't start until January 8th, you obviously don't have to be present for classes in September. You have to be present for classes for the start of January 8th. So not to worry about that yet. Can we get internship jobs after 1 year of study in the CIS program? Yes. You'll actually have an internship as part of your program in the CIS program. So if you haven't applied for your co-op work permit yet, we'll get you to apply for that in September when you get here so that you are able to go out on your internship. The internship takes place at the end of your academic year. Some are paid, some are not, just depends on your program and where your internship is. We do have lots of help on campus for finding your internship job, so just make sure you have your co-op work permit ready to go. I see a question here. I have a PEI health card now. Do I still need to purchase international medical? What is the difference between the two? So your PEI health card covers everything that Canadian healthcare would cover. So if you need to go to the emergency room to see a doctor, or if you have an appointment with a doctor for a checkup, or you need blood work, or things like that, your PEI health card covers that. There is an additional insurance that you will receive through part of the student union, and that covers everything above and beyond what our regular medical doesn't cover. So hospital stays, dental work, massage therapy covers vision. So if you need glasses or an eye checkup or anything like that, prescriptions. So a number of different things. And that insurance can be extended to your spouse. Once you get here, you can meet with our student union and they can add your spouse to your insurance at an additional cost. The cost is dependent on the age of your spouse and a few other factors, but that is something that you can chat with them about once you arrive here. And your spouse can also apply for a PEI health card as well. To request your letter of enrollment, you have to log into your WebAdvisor account and click on students and graduates. And then there is a link there that says verification of enrollment. So you can request your letter of enrollment there. It does take a few business days. So make sure you give yourself some time when you request these documents. Please don't request them at the last minute just because things can take some time. So just keep that in mind. What is the recommended Canadian bank account to open for students? So we've had a lot of really great luck with National Bank. They seem to have a lot of really great services in place for our international students. I have a bank account with them and I have never had a complaint about them. So National Bank is really great and they will be on campus as well throughout the year and they'll be talking about financial health and things like that. So just something to kind of keep in mind. You can apply for your co-op work permit after you arrive in PEI, not to worry, but you should do it when you arrive here in September. Someone mentioned that there's nowhere on their dashboard that it says they should upload an introduction letter. You can upload your introduction letter to the study permit portion of your dashboard account. Yes, so if you haven't completed all of your admission requirements, still apply for your study permit, please. After receiving my study permit at the airport, after that, I'm able to register for classes. Harpreet, if you have your letter of introduction already, upload that to your dashboard account. And if that's the last item, if the study permit is the last item required for you and you've already got your letter of introduction, you can then register for your classes.
Sorry, Julie, I'm just gonna pipe in real quick.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of people talking about flights and all that stuff again. I just
Okay.
really wanna articulate again, you can't come the end of September.
No.
You know, we love to be flexible, you know, we would love if that was possible. But you do hands-on learning here. It is not lecture based, it is in class, hands-on learning, practical skills. You would already be way far behind. So unfortunately, if you're not here within the first week of class, your application will automatically be withdrawn. And unfortunately, there's no refund with that. So I would encourage you, if you're worried by the end of August, you know, middle of August, you know, as sad as it is, and we don't want to lose you, we would, you know, ask you guys to cancel your seat. You know, we can talk, we don't defer, but you know, consider our applications are open for next year. So if it's not doesn't work out for you this year, we do encourage you to already apply for next year. But just please, those that, you know, you can't get here till the end of September, unfortunately, that's not going to be allowed. If you do show up the end of September, you will not be allowed to start your class. So please really work very hard right now. I know some of it's out of your control, and we do understand that. We are sympathetic and empathetic to that. However, our hands are tied on that. So if you're not here within the first week of school, and there hasn't been any modifications made to that due to extreme cases, then unfortunately your application will be withdrawn. So please just keep that in mind. And again, we know a bit of it's out of your control, but please just be aware that it is a bit out of our control as well. So just wanted to get that out there because there is quite a few of those coming through.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. I see a question here. Do I need to submit my insurance number? Where should I upload it? If you wish to add that to your file, you just have to contact admissions. So Tara in our admissions department, she would be the one that you would contact about adding your social insurance number to your file. And I will put her email address here in the chat. Social. And one thing I will say about your social insurance number, Tara and your employer are the only people you should share that number with. Do not share that with anybody else. It is a private number. It's just for yourself. Keeping it to yourself can help prevent identity theft and things like that. So do keep that to yourself. So I'll put Tara's phone number here. So 902. So her phone number is there for your social insurance number to give that to her. If you need to change your email address that's on your dashboard account, please email international@hollandcollege.com and we will be able to change the email address on file for you. So just keep that in mind. There is help on campus available for people who are looking for part-time employment, for full-time employment after you graduate. There is someone here who has an office who will meet with students to help out with your resume, interviewing skills, all that different kind of things. So we do have lots of supports available for that. And you'll get to meet Haley, who is the gal who does it. You'll get to meet her at the international orientation, which will happen on September the 12th. And we'll send out information on how to do that. Do you have any idea about the amount of money we can bring to PEI? That is something that you'll have to look at on the IRCC website. That can vary. If it's Canadian currency, I don't know that there's a limit on it, but if it's a foreign currency, they do have limitations to that. So please check the IRCC website. So make sure you do that. Does the health insurance have out-of-pocket deductions or does it cover everything in full? That depends, Elizabeth. Depends on what it is that you need for insurance. So some prescriptions you may have to pay out of pocket first and then you're reimbursed. Some you may not have to. So just something to keep in mind there. And we'll talk a little more about what's covered with your health insurance once you're here and we're at the international orientation. So we do have about 10 minutes left. I'm going to answer as many questions as I possibly can in the 10 minutes. But if anybody has a question that they didn't have answered, please email international@hollandcollege.com and we can definitely help you out with that. I see a question here about your SIM card for your phone, your cell phone. You can go, there's a number of places you can go for those. You can go to Walmart, Best Buy. There's a few places around Charlottetown that do offer those services. So you can definitely get a new SIM card for your current phone. The co-op work permit is not compulsory for all students, but if you do have a co-op work component in your program, it will be required that you have a co-op work permit. When we send out the list of, or sorry, when we send you your international student handbook, there'll be a full list of all of the programs that require that co-op work permit. So be sure to take a look at that. Any like specific questions, please send any like specific questions to your situation to international@hollandcollege.com and we'll be able to help you out there. There is no deadline for opting out of the health insurance using your PEI health card, but what will happen is the longer you wait to opt out, the less money you'll get back. So they basically prorate it for how many days are left in the semester. So something to keep in mind.
Sorry, Julie,
If
I'm gonna
you
type, oh, sorry. I'm just gonna pipe in real quick. I'm gonna put the link in the chat box to the orientation page. So if anyone hasn't read over orientation page, please take time to do that. You can go to the tab which says program information. That is your welcome letter. That will go over where you have to be, what you need, your books, supplies, who your instructors are. If you haven't done that, I'm going to put that link in here so I don't want anyone to miss it. It's orientation, all of the stuff about the school as a whole, as well as your specific program information. I'm also going to put the link of the Holland College Student Union Health Plan. Take time, read over it. Again, it's something we will go over, but I just think, Julia, just so you're not having to keep repeating that, I just want to let you know, people, I'm going to put those two links in, our orientation page and our student union health plan, so that you guys can all take time to read over that, because I think that will also answer some of these questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone had asked if you pay for your tuition as well as your books at the same time. Will the bookstore acknowledge that? You won't be able to pay for your tuition and books at the same time. Your books are to be purchased separately, either from the bookstore, or if you know of where you can get a copy of that particular book that you need, you can buy it somewhere else other than the bookstore if you wish. But the books are all purchased separately. So keep that in mind. Um, how do we get the co-op work permit? You apply for your co-op work permit through your IRCC account. So that's the same account that you would have used when you applied for your study permit. And once you arrive here, we are going to be having some sessions on how to apply for your co-op work permit. They will be fairly early in the year, so watch your email for that. There's a question here. Can we change our 5-day schedule to a 4-day class schedule per week? Probably not, unfortunately. Likely you will have to attend classes 5 days a week just because of the way the schedules are laid out. It is required that students are there 5 days a week. So probably not a possibility. We are down to the last 5 minutes here. So again, if there are any questions that I don't get to in the chat, please feel free to email international@hollandcollege.com and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. We do ask for your patience. It's a very busy time of year, so sometimes it does take a couple of business days to get a response. Please don't panic. We will get back to you, not to worry. Um, If there are people looking for temporary accommodations, I do see a few people asking about that. You can look at Airbnb. Um, you'll be able to find some kind of temporary accommodation through there. But other than that, like a hotel would be like your next option really. So I would check out Airbnb if you need any kind of temporary accommodations, or even ask your current landlord if you can move in a little bit earlier and maybe pay a half a month of rent or something like that. It's always worth it to ask. How can I know if I've paid for books or not? Though I paid for the first year tuition. If you paid your first year tuition, you just paid your tuition. You didn't pay for your books. If there is an overpayment on your account, you'll be able to see that on your web advisor account. And then if there is an overpayment, we can give you credit for the bookstore. We can make something like that work for sure. Um, is there a deadline for filing of a refund for negative or excess amounts on a student account? So, um, it depends on the refund situation. Like if you are here and you paid like $100 more on your account than what you should have, typically our finance department will just transfer your extra funds over to the next year or the next semester. So just something to remember when you are paying your tuition. Tuition is due on the first day of class. If you visit your program website, you'll be able to see a full breakdown of your tuition and fees, how much you have to pay for your first installment, when your second installment is due, all that kind of stuff. So you can check that out. And as Shannon had just mentioned, please go on to our orientation website as well, because those welcome letters are really, really great. Some of them will include a list of books that you need. So I see someone on here asked if they could purchase books from, I think, a family member. So you can confirm with the program. I see Shannon answered that already, but yeah, so if it is the same volume, the same book, you can definitely buy them used someone. If it's a different volume though, you'll want to check with your program first just to make sure. More information about the books. So the information is on the orientation website. So check out your welcome letter on our orientation website. The link is in the chat, and you'll be able to see what books you need. And if it's not listed there, you'll find out on the first day of class, and you'll be able to obtain them from our bookstore. Can I start school a week late after the start date? Typically not. If you need to start late, it's really difficult to start your classes late. Um, they are very fast-paced classes, so if you have to start late, please send an email to international@hollandcollege.com and we will have to request a late start through your program manager. A week is really pushing it though. So a week is pretty late to be starting. Anything past a week, you're not going to be able to do that. So please send us an email explaining your situation and we'll see what we can do to work with you. I see a question here. Is a blended delivery mode of a program still eligible to get a post-graduation work permit? So all of our programs are either considered blended or in person. If you are in any program that is in person here at the college, you do qualify to apply for a post-grad work permit when you complete. The only programs that you cannot apply for a post-grad work permit for would be open academic studies and anything that is through distance learning, as well as English for academic purposes. So none of those programs will allow you to apply for a post-grad work permit, but all of the other ones certainly do. So we are at 4 o'clock right now. I hope that I was able to answer everybody's questions as best as I could. Certainly, if you have, oh, actually, I will touch on this. Someone had mentioned that they paid $1,000 for their confirmation fee, and does that go towards your tuition? Yes, it does. So that's $1,000 less that you'll have to pay in September. So not to worry about that. But like I had mentioned, if there are any other questions, please just send us an email to international@hollandcollege.com. It may take us a couple of business days to respond, but we will respond. I promise. We're very on top of our emails. Please keep an eye on your emails. Make sure that you have your flights booked and your study permits submitted and all that good stuff. And any other questions, please email us. We are more than happy to help, and we're really, really looking forward to meeting you all in the fall. So when you arrive to PEI, please come to Montgomery Hall at 305 Kent Street and say hello. We would love to meet you. We're really excited to see you folks in September. And this was recorded, so we will be sending it out to everyone as soon as we have access to the recording. All
Yes,
right.
thank you. And there is lots of emails already coming through there, Julia, so that's great. So we'll be able to answer those. It is the end of day here, so it most likely won't be till Monday. But Julia, you did a great job, so thank you. I think there was obviously a few between you answering and me typing. I think we probably did miss a few, but please just send us an email, like I said. But it was lovely, even though we didn't get to see your faces. But I do hope we get to meet all of you in September, and some of you maybe January.
Yes, exactly. And I apologize if I did not get to your question, but like Shannon said, just send us an email and we'll respond to you. All right. Have a really great weekend, folks. And we're really looking forward to meeting you all.
Bye.